chat with Skoda India's brand director Ashish Gupta, who talks to us about the company's market share ambitions, EV push and their intent to lean into affordability segment while retaining the premium feel of their cars. Let's listen in to a slice of that very exclusive conversation.
I think, first of all, thank you for acknowledging the legacy that we as a brand have worldwide and also in India. It's been quite an exciting journey. I would say the last 25 years, it's been about defining the brand, setting benchmarks in the luxury segment, in the premium segment for the brand in the Indian market. And I think that's the legacy we have established, which I plan to fully carry forward. Of course, the definition of premium and the definition of what constitutes mobility has also changed over the last 25 years. So as a brand, the only way to stay relevant is to redefine your definition of where you want to be in the market also continuously. That's what we are doing. If you look at our three big strategy pillars, I think the first strategy pillar that is very dear to me is to be relevant. Yeah. Now with Skoda, the launch of the Kayak, we have a full lineup of SUVs with the Kayak, the Kushaq, the Kodiaq, and of course the sedan legacy continues with the Slavia. So, just with the portfolio and by entering the sub 4 meter SUV segment, now we are present in almost 60% of the market. So we are a relevant brand in India. Our volumes have more than doubled compared to last year. We have climbed up 4 places in the marketplace in terms of ranking from rank 11 to 7. So we are a relevant player, and that's something which we want to continue and continue to, also use that relevance to influence how India moves. And that plays into the second pillar of strategy that I call it. It's differentiation. How do you now use the relevance you have created by being a player in the market to actually influence mobility? And for me, that is also the way India moves in terms of transmissions. If you look at worldwide, automatics constitute almost 90% of any market. In India, it's only 25%. An India that is evolving, an India that is looking for convenience, you have 10 minutes delivery, and we still drive stick shifts. Nothing against stick shifts. I love them when I want to have a thrilling ride. But at the end of the day, for everyday driving and the kind of traffic conditions and all we live in, I think automatics makes sense for India, and that's a big opportunity that we have as a brand, as a relevant player in India to influence. So that's something which as a pivot, I'm also trying to establish as our differentiating factor. And the third, which basically defines the success of a brand, is trust. Yeah? And trust is built by being consistent in your portfolio, by meeting our promises. So that's in a nutshell the 3 pillars that will define our journey ahead.
No, that's interesting. But Ashish, I was going through one of your social media profiles and you have mentioned a very interesting line that you intend to shape the future of mobility in India. Yeah. And future that every auto company is talking about is towards electric vehicles. Skoda, I believe, has a global offering. But what about India? What are the plans?
No, I think, future can be defined in many terms. And, just to put things in context, future of mobility, as I was just talking about automatics, that could also be defined as future of mobility, point definitely. But having said that, I think the inflection point for electrification in India should come somewhere around 2027, not by chance, but because of 3 things, manufacturing capability, supply chain readiness, and the third is, of course, the CAFE regulations kicking in. Yeah, so that's when I think the electrification journey for everybody in the market will actually kick off. Last month we ended with 4.5% of the market being electric. Yeah. Initial predictions 3-4 years back was that the EV market would be 30% of India by 2030. That is not happening, and not only in India but worldwide. But 15 to 18% definitely. Yeah. So any brand, and if we want to be relevant as a brand, you have to get into that space. That's what is on the table for us. That is what we are planning for as well.
But is that happening anytime soon? Because reports are suggesting that in the second half, early next year, we can have one.
Srishi, I have given you enough hints of the inflection points in the industry, and
but it's already there. Every company is moving to it.
Yes, of course, but it needs preparation. It needs a lot of groundwork. The dynamics of the market worldwide are also changing. It's not, as you said, it's not that we do not have an electric portfolio. Last month, the Elroq, which is a fresh launch from Skoda in Europe, was the #1 selling EV in Europe. Yeah, so that's the kind of portfolio, that's the kind of credentials that exist not only in the brand but in the group as well. But you also have to make sure that the investments that you make, the bets that you take are relevant for a longer period of time, and you do not have the ground shifting beneath your feet.
But you have hybrids.
Yeah.
You have some offerings in the hybrids as well. Why hybrids over EVs? And do you believe that hybrids is the future?
No, I think, it's like whenever there is a big transition happening in the industry, and we have seen it in the mobile industry, we have seen it in the so-called VHS, Betamax, and all that stuff, which we all as children saw in the 1990s. I think, when a big transition is happening in any industry, there are pros and cons of betting on one technology. Yeah, there were companies, including ours, who bet very heavily on EV 4 or 5 years ago. But I think the dynamics of the market have changed. So now you have to also evaluate various other options, which could include hybrids.
All right. So now let's talk about Skoda as a brand.
Yeah.
Till date, we used to resonate Skoda, or rather match Skoda with premium feeling.
Yeah.
Most of your offerings are towards the higher end of the price curve. But in the recent times, we also see that you are trying to enter in the affordable segment as well. Under your leadership, how do you want to position Skoda as a brand? Are you more inclined to get some affordable offerings to cater to that segment? And if yes, then which category will you be focusing?
No, I think if you look at it, our positioning is very clear. Our positioning is based on 3 values. One is European engineering, which is very well established. Safety, which is a given in any Skoda. And the third is continuously evolving value that we need to provide to customers. That's the positioning of Skoda in India and globally as well. And we want to stay true to that. And since European engineering and safety are given for a Skoda, what we are now with the Kailak providing is more value to the customers. Yeah. So it's the same European engineering, same safety standards that we are known for, but at now more accessible price points. And that's value.
But it's good to assume that you will try to shift that price band.
It has already shifted,
Yeah.
So it's a combination of where the market is shifting to, Srishi, to be honest. At one point of time, 5 years ago, the average ticket size in the industry was around 6 to 7 lakhs. Yeah, even lower than that. Yeah, so the entire market has also shifted towards more bigger body styles, SUV, more premium features. The average ticket size has moved to around 8 or 9 lakhs within 5 years' time, which is, I think, a big progress that the Indian market has done. If you look at in 2018, the number of cars or the percentage of cars above 1 million sold in India was only 18%. Last year, it ended at 52%. Yeah, so there is a market shift in terms of customer preferences, in terms of what the customers want to buy, and also pushed to some extent by regulations.
All right, point taken. But Ashish, now let's shift from market to market share.
Yeah.
Because now that we are talking about 25 years of Skoda, but the key to note is that you were sub 1% in terms of market share, but now it is improving on a month-on-month basis. So kudos to that. But under your leadership, do you have any number where you want to head to?
Srishi, to be honest, I'm a sales guy, and I learned very early in my career never to put a number.
Yeah. So, but we as a journalist always look
No, I know that, So, but if you look at it, yes, you're right. Last year we ended with sub 1% market share. In the first 5 months itself, with the launch of the Kailak, we are at a year till date market share of close to 1.5 to 1.8%. Last month we finished with 1.8%. With the plans this year we have, and with the Kailak now picking up steam, I think we should end the year with around 2.5 to 3% market share. So that's the ambition I'm looking at. Parallelly, for more important as a sales and marketing guy, also without putting a number to it, is to maintain our rank 7.
All right, we look forward to that. But another point that is a bit worrisome for all the auto players globally, and not just the Indian companies, is the shortage of the rare earth magnets. You are a global brand, rather, and you have a parent which is like the flagship parent that you have. Give us some sense that what is your sense on this particular issue? Are you impacted? What are you hearing from some of your industry friends?
I think the industry, what is happening in the industry is known to everybody. Yeah? It's in the press. I can only talk about ourselves. We, so far, from what I understand from our supply chain colleagues, for the domestic business, we are not impacted.
All right. Anything from the parent company you're hearing?
No, I think I'm more focused on what happens in India for me.
पैसा लगाना है